Now, show of hands, how many people have been to one of my workshops before? To a workshop or a master class I've hosted? Yeah? Yeah, Susan has? Yeah, thanks for coming again, Susan. Now, how many of
I
you
watched you
have...
on TV today.
Oh, you watched me on TV today?
I,
That's cool.
well,
That's good,
on
close.
my browser. Yeah, yeah. We were at a ConvertKit meetup yesterday. I don't know if you remember that,
Right.
but
Yeah, I sure do. That's where we met, Simon. Thanks for coming today. Yeah,
yeah. Thank you.
yeah. Now, show of hands, how many people here have a white paper? If you have a white paper already, like a PDF download, show of hands, yeah? Okay, great, great. Now, how many of you have an idea for a white paper? You've got an idea for your next white paper? Yeah, a couple of you? Okay, great. Well, what we're going to be doing today in this workshop is we're going to talk about the best practices of white papers. And I'll give you an outline to get started on your next one. So some of you are watching this on the replay. I had a whole bunch of people register and not that many showed up today. This is kind of what webinars are like nowadays. So if you're watching this on the replay, I want you to get a piece of paper and ask yourself these questions and write it down on a piece of paper. And we're going to do this on a whiteboard for everybody who's here live. Okay. And this uses the stamp tool, the same tool that we used before. And so find that annotation toolbar. It might be the green pencil in the lower left-hand corner. And I'm going to draw a line, and I want you to stamp along this line. Okay? And you can use any stamp you want. If your answer is negative, put it towards the left-hand side. If it's more positive, put it towards the right-hand side. Okay? And what I want to know right now is about your confidence. Okay? So first, put a stamp to let me know your confidence in your messaging. Put a stamp somewhere on this line and let me know, are you very confident? Put it towards the right. Are you not so confident? Put it towards the left. And if you're doing this at home on the replay, just draw a line on your piece of paper and place a mark on the right side if it's very high, and if on the left side if it's very low. Great. Now for this second line, I want to know about your confidence in your voice, the voice that you use to write with. How authentic is it? How much do you like it? If you really like your voice, put a stamp over towards the right side. If you're not too sure about your voice, put it towards the left. Great. Great. And now let me know about how you feel about your brand visuals. If you're very happy with them, if they're very defined and you like them a lot, stamp over towards the right. Not so much, stamp over towards the left. Great. And now let me know how you feel about your marketing collaterals, your brochures, your website, your newsletter, the stuff you need for marketing. How confident do you feel? Great. All right, now we're going to do another set of polls. And this is about white papers. I want to know how interested you are in doing specific aspects of the white paper. Same as before. If it's not so much, mark over on the left. If it's a whole lot, mark over on the right. How interested are you in doing the writing? How much do you like doing the writing? If you really like doing the writing, put it over to the right. Not so much, put it to the left. And if you're doing this on the replay, do this as a self-assessment. How interested are you in doing the writing on your white paper? So next, tell me about the design. How interested are you in doing the design in your white paper? Does that appeal to you? Making it look good? Paul says, no, that's not the part you want to do. Yeah. All right, now tell me about revisions. How much do you like doing iterations of your white paper? How appealing is that to you? Great. Excellent. All right. All right. thank you for taking the time to share your thoughts here. This is really helpful. Now let's go over a quick agenda of what we're going to be doing today. Come on, share it, Zoom. There we go. All right. So some of you are here live. Thanks for spending this time with me. And some of you are just watching this on the replay. Hopefully you'll be able to get just as much value, no matter whether you're watching this now or in the future. I want to tell you a little bit about why white papers matter, and then share with you a swipe folder of white papers that I've collected throughout my career that I find really helpful to review when I'm making a new white paper. We'll talk a little bit about the outlines, and we'll do some exercises to outline your next white paper using my white paper workbook. And then we'll talk about how the white paper exists in context of the sales funnel, how the white paper can be used to help you grow your business. But first, I'd like to know from everybody who's here, I want to play a game called Popcorn. And this is where I ask a question and you just pop in with answers. Okay, so take yourself off of mute and give me an answer to this question. What's a white paper for?
Show your expertise.
Show your expertise. What else?
Garner interest in a topic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Help people decide if they want to work with you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Nice. What else?
Help people understand where they are and where they could get to.
Nice. Nice. What does a white paper do for your business?
Does it show thought leadership?
Mm-hmm. Great. Great. What else?
Demonstrates deep knowledge in a subject matter.
Nice. I like that, Simon. Yeah. What else? What else can it do for your business? Can help you sell stuff.
Yeah. That lead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Starts commercial conversations.
Lead list.
Yeah. Yeah. Build your list. Nice. Great. Great. Now, final question. What are some of the things you hope to get out of this workshop?
I wanted to learn the value of the white paper in terms of, the sales and sales funnel.
Nice.
Want to make it easier and faster to get one done.
Yes, I like that. Easier
and more fun.
And more fun. Well, you're talking to the right guy, Simon, because I'm going to make this process fun. Now, as a lot of you know, I am a digital marketer by trade. I run a digital marketing agency called Stellar Platforms, which I've been running for 13 years now, where I help experts and entrepreneurs set up smart marketing systems. I also wrote the book on marketing yourself, how to elevate your personal platform to the next level. And I wrote this after more than a decade of working with people who had their own personal brand as the basis of their business. I probably fell into this particular niche because of my unique overlap of skills. I've worked with a lot of New York Times bestselling authors, Hall of Fame public speakers, nationally syndicated radio hosts. I'm the marketing guy behind a lot of those platforms. And I set up the system so that they can just show up and share their message and shine their light, and their systems do their marketing for them. And I'm fascinated by the art of directing attention online because I started my career as an acrobat in the circus. I was a street performer for a bunch of years. I've done Shakespeare in the Park more times than I could count. And I love this idea that you can earn attention from an audience. But instead of earning attention from an audience at one point in time, like I used to, with marketing, I earn attention from a demographic over time. And that enables me to do some really neat things when I combine it with technology. I'm like a piano tuner. I don't do the singing for you, but I fix your instrument so that you sound better. And I help people develop the skills so that they can show up more clearly to their audience. And some people use my free workshops like this, the templates and workbooks that I create, to help them do it themselves. Others hire me as their coach, where I help them, I give them advice and strategic insight and feedback on what they're doing. And others hire me to actually do create all the assets for them. And I find that people feel like they're the best kept secret until they can get the message that clicks, that starts attracting the right people. And when you're stuck and you don't know what to say or who to say it to, it can keep you quiet. But once you have a simple and repeatable message that attracts the right type of people to you, then you don't have to do any selling because you've become magnetic. And that's really what a white paper is for. A white paper is to attract the right kinds of people to work with you. Most people use a white paper as a PDF download that is able to build their list and increase their subscriber count with qualified potential customers. But it also positions you as an authority on your topic. It demonstrates to everyone else that you've done the thinking to package an idea that solves a problem. This is the first thing I want you to understand about white papers, is white papers are meant to solve a problem. So when you're thinking about what is my next white paper going to be about, I want you to focus on the problem that you solve. Things would be going badly if it wasn't for this solution that you can offer. And there's a particular type of problem we want to focus on. It's a problem that requires high expertise and low difficulty to solve. If it's easy to do and anybody can do it, then they're going to do it themselves. They're not going to subscribe to your newsletter to figure it out because they can do it themselves. If it's too difficult to do, even if they could do it themselves, being an amateur, they're probably going to hire somebody else to do it for cheap or watch a YouTube tutorial on it and do it themselves. If it's really difficult and it requires high expertise, that's why people hire us. They pay good money to hire us for premium services. But what we're focusing on right now with a white paper is this upper left quadrant of a problem that requires high expertise and low difficulty to solve. That's what we're focusing on for the white paper. That's what I did with one of my white papers, Gamify Your Work. You can infer the problem that I solve by the title. Work is boring and it's not getting done. But if you gamify it, you can get more done in good cheer. That's the purpose of this white paper. Now, what I'm sharing with you right here is not the white paper itself. This is a 3D cover image of the white paper. And what this image does is it allows me to demonstrate on a landing page or on a slide or on a piece of marketing collateral that I have a white paper on this topic. I've done some thinking about it. I've done some writing to the point and put it together to the point where it looks like it has some material to it. A PDF is just invisible, but this looks like it has some substance. And I made this using a free tool at DIYbookcovers.com. And this is a really neat tool. Let me flip over from my slides to the website so I can get a little bit more interactive. You just upload an image and it says, which one of these do you want? And you select the type of image that you want. You might want it with an iPad. You might want it on a mobile phone. They have on this composite tab, you can upload the same image and put them all in here. It's a really neat tool. And it's totally free to use. So I'm going to drop a link to this in the chat box here. And if you're watching this on the replay, then you can download the chat box. I'm going to be giving out a lot of links during the workshop today. And so I'll remind you at the end to save the chat box. So if you don't want to open them all up as we go, I'll remind you at the end to save the chat box, and that way you'll have all the links. Now, having a cover works for a white paper just as well as it does for an actual book. I have a print book, but a lot of people download the digital version. And so having a 3D cover makes it look like there's a lot of material there. I've published a lot of workbooks. These are all workbook covers that I made using the tool that I just shared the link with you with. But I want you to notice that there's a transparent background here. With a transparent background, you can do different things. Like this is a PNG that has a transparent background. If I use a JPEG, like I did on my sales funnel workbook, it's always got a white background. And so I want you to know that if you have a transparent background, it gives you a lot more flexibility without showing off your white paper. And these are the 3 things you really need for a white paper. You need a transparent PNG cover, an evergreen PDF link, so that you can always say, here's my white paper and link to it. And you need a page where people can subscribe in order to get it. Once you have these 3 things, you're set up. Now, what I like to do is set up a whole sales funnel around this, but we'll get into the sales funnel at the end of the workshop today if we have time. But I find that the sales funnel is a good way to make sure that your white paper is helping strangers become customers. Now, before we jump into the swipe folder, does anybody have any questions about anything we've covered so far? No?
The book itself, Caelan, the white paper looks like a book when you've got it in that 3D cover. Is that a bit deceptive because your white paper may only be 6 pages, 10 pages? And that looks like it's a 100-page book.
It does, right? You know, I've got, this is a 200-page book, and this is a 16-page white paper. But they're both a collection of ideas. And that's what I really want to express visually, is that this isn't just an article. It's a collection of ideas. Now, there's nothing wrong with having a 2-page white paper that has a cover. Nobody's going to call you out on it. But what it does is it gives it extra weight and gravitas. And that's really what we're aiming for with a white paper. Does that make sense?
Thank you. Yeah. I just don't want to deceive people thinking that they're going to get something meatier maybe than it is, although I know it's quality rather than quantity. But
yeah, as long as you're solving a good problem, they're actually going to be happy if it takes less time.
Yeah. Thank you.
Sure. All right, so next I want to share with you a swipe folder. I'm going to go over some of my favorite white papers. We're not going to be able to go through all of them today, but I'll go through a few and highlight what I like, and then give the link to you to spend 3 minutes reviewing it and see what you like. But first, I want to remind you of the resistance you're probably feeling to this word swipe. Could be because of what our friend Dora says.
I can't hear that, Caelan.
Caelan, we need to share the audio. Yeah, we're not hearing audio.
Are you sharing your sound?
I was sharing my sound, but it's not coming through, and I'm not going to mess with it. That has been such a pain in the neck just to get that video to play. I was trying to get it to show on the side here. She was saying swipe or no swiping. That's the signature Dora line there. Sorry, the audio didn't come through. But swiping is often something that we see as a negative thing, that it has to do with theft. But in this context, with the swipe file, it's much different. You know, it's the difference between standing on the shoulders of giants versus counterfeiting. We're not going to be stealing from these PDFs that we're reviewing. We're drawing inspiration from them. A swipe folder, it collects inspiration for future use, which can be really helpful when you're creating something new. In 1994, Steve Jobs said, "Good artists borrow and great artists steal." But of course, 60 years before that, Pablo Picasso said, "Good artists borrow and great artists steal. And the way that you see Steve Jobs' reattribution of that quote can help uncover how much friction you'll have in reviewing the material of others. Swiping is not stealing. It's a collection of best practices and great techniques that you've identified that because they have helped earn your attention. And you can use those same techniques in the future. Austin Kleon wrote a great book about this called Steal Your Work. And it was about how you draw inspiration from other things out there in the world. Hi, Moran. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, Caelan.
It reminds me of like when I went to clown school, I had to make a lot of masks. And so I made a positive mold of my face. Somebody covered my face in plaster of Paris and let it dry. And then I poured concrete into it. And I was left with a positive mold of my face so that I could build masks on it that would fit my face. But I wasn't stealing. I was repurposing. I found something and then I made a copy and then I changed that copy. And that's what we're going to be doing today with looking at these white paper examples. So to start off with, I'm going to show you the Gamify Your Work white paper. Oops, I'm here at the end. Hang on. This is the last page. I meant to show you the first page. A lot of white papers start with a title page. You have the title, you have the author. It makes it clear what this is about. And then a lot of them have a copyright or a disclaimer. And this is some standard boilerplate that I had seen on a lot of white papers. And so I went to Chris Freeman, who had been using this on his white papers for a while. And I said, hey, can I just use this? And he said, buddy, I took this from somebody else too. And so I want to give all of you the authority to take this boilerplate disclaimer text, edit it any way you want, and repurpose it. In the upper right-hand corner here, there's a Creative Commons image that specifies that this entire document can be shared by anybody without attribution as long as it's kept in its entire form. And that's how I want you to think of your white paper, is you're setting it free out into the world for anybody to use. Because the more people that read it, the farther your work spreads. Now, what I like to do in my white papers is start with a powerful statement. Workers in a better mood do better work. Hard work versus easy play. Every project is a game. And if you notice at the bottom, I've got these quote sections with a famous quote from everyone. And then I go into the goals, the rules, and the feedback that make up a game. And I'll just skip through to the end where I have a work with me page. And this is something you'll see in a lot of the white papers that I'm going to be sharing, is having a call to action at the end that lets people know how to do business with you and what kind of work you're looking to do. It makes it clear what people are supposed to do next. So next, I want to share with you a white paper from Jan Keck, who is a Canadian-German virtual host. And this is the title page to his white paper. And you can see the problem he solves right here in the title. The secret to avoiding crickets in online meetings. A leader's guide to turning quiet observers into highly engaged participants. And I love the design he uses. It's very colorful. He uses a lot of emojis. The headers get a lot of attention. And he has these full page breaks that have a high quality photo in the background. So you want to be careful with photos because they can dramatically increase the file size of your white paper. But having good, rich photo content is super intriguing. Now on page 6, he's got his About the Author page, because he knows that people are going to be scanning this to get some stuff, and he wanted to make his introduction before the reader got all the way to the end. And what he's done here is he has section breaks for his tips. set expectations early on, and he dives into how to do that. And his next tip, engage participants right away, and he dives into how to do that. And it makes it so that this is scannable. This is something I want you to think of with your white papers, is how do you make it scannable so that people can easily and quickly find the information that they want. Now, next, I'm going to share with you Louise Gilbert's white paper. And her title is Help Your Team Thrive Through Change. Tells you right there exactly what it is that you're expecting as the outcome of this white paper. And her white paper is very visual. She's got some really great photography. And so you're going to see these photos really feature prominently. But I want to highlight that right in the beginning here, she's got questions. These questions draw you in. And she's got statistics. These big numbers. It makes you think, what are these numbers about? And so even if scanning, there's things that make you stop. She's got a quiz in here where you can do a self-assessment and grade yourself. And then she talked about her program, Team Flicks, lessons from your favorite Netflix shows on how to build high-functioning teams at work. Like Netflix for Teams. Really clear messaging. It's like an ad. Takes up a full page. And then she goes into the specifics of it and has lots of testimonials, logos of places where she's worked. And then what do? You book a consultation, you email, or you call. Contact me for a free, no obligation chat. And now the final white paper I want to show you is from one of our attendees today, Paul McGregor. He put together a vibrant virtual meetings methods toolkit. And what I like so much about what Paul's done here, it's visually really compelling. But I like the regularity of the layout. So if you're looking for a method to keep a virtual team engaged, you could scroll through here and find a game. All of these are activities you can do. You can connect to a place, and these are the steps to do it. I like how the icon and the title, it tells you what to do and the order you do it. And this volume of exercises, it makes this toolkit look like it's just so rich, full of material. This is the sort of thing that a virtual host is going to keep on their desktop. So when they have a meeting, they can pull this up and scan through it. And while they're scrolling through to see what is it that I can do, they're going to reach the end and have this dynamite page at the end that lets them know that they can work with Paul to become more confident facilitators. So those are some of the white papers that are in the swipe folder. What I'd like to do now is I'd like to give you a link to the swipe folder itself. And I'm going to set a timer for 3 minutes and play some music. I think you will hear this music this time. And give you some time to take a look through and see what you notice. So go ahead and open this link in the chat box. And this goes to a Dropbox folder. You might be able to just download all of these to your own Dropbox or to your desktop. You might need to download these one by one, depending on what your operating system is like. If you need to download them one by one, then just pick a couple, 3 or 4, and download them right now. And what I'd like you to do is to spend 3 minutes going through these white papers, and then we're going to come back here and talk about it. I'm going to set a timer and play some music. If you don't like it, you can turn the volume down and watch the timer. Start wrapping it up. To come on back to Zoom. So what did you see? What stuck out?
They were all different, but
Yeah.
still interesting. They're engaging. I just wanted to dig into them and really, spend time reading them.
Yeah. Yeah. What made them so engaging?
I think, well, they were all the variety, the layout. There was a lot of white space, which is always good with that. So yeah, I mean, they were easy to read. You felt, this isn't going to take me long to get through.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to take much time, but yet it looked as if it was meaty and that I would get some value out of it.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
Yeah, the
What I
layout
heard-
and the
Yeah, go ahead,
headings, the footers that are consistent with the color schemes, it just
Mm.
speaks to substantial knowledge that's ready for use.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What's interesting for me was I looked at one that was really visually vibrant, and I noticed I was really only looking at the headings and the bolded text. And then I opened another one that was more just a traditional document, and I barely read any of it. I sort of skimmed to the bottom and I kind of went, I haven't taken any of that in.
Yeah. So what does that tell you about the design?
Yeah, it's much more important for something that really is probably only going to be looked at for 30 seconds to maybe 4 minutes tops.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. The design matters.
Yeah.
Going back to what Susan said, the white space is actually really compelling. Because when there's white space, the things that are there for you to see, they really draw you in a lot more deeply. Yeah, that's something that I really like is having good design in a scannable white paper. Because then it makes it more likely that people are going to engage with your content. Yeah, so even though a lot of these are different, a lot of them use the same kind of outline. And when you go through them, you'll see that they hit the same points. They might do it in a different order. Some of them might leave some parts out and others have extra parts, but they follow the same basic outline. And I'd like to share with you a white paper workbook that I use for starting new white papers. And this is a Google Doc, and I'm going to give you this Google Doc. And one of the exercises we're going to do in the workshop is we're going to fill out part of this workbook. Okay. So when you get this Google Doc, in order to edit it, you need to go up to File in the upper left-hand corner and go to Make a Copy. And then that's going to give you your own copy in Google Drive. And there's instructions here on how to do that. If you can't edit it, go to File and Make a Copy, and then you'll have your own copy in Google Drive. And this is the outline that a lot of them use. They start with the title. They've got some sort of disclaimer text, and then they have a content hook. This is what we're going to do today, is we're going to work on a content hook. They talk about who it's for. They describe the avatar. They empathize with the problems that they face, and they introduce a solution. This often has to do with a program. The program might be book a call with me, or it might be pages worth of material. And for larger programs, they require larger descriptions. Some of the best ones have some testimonials, some real life stories, and they have a call to action at the end that lets people know this is your next step, and this is who I am and why you can trust me. And so when you go through this workbook, you'll notice some of the words are in all caps. And if it's in all caps, that usually means it's a variable. And you could double click on it and replace it with something else, with your title. By author, you double click and replace it with your name. Now I've provided you the boilerplate text. Now some of this is in all caps, so I went ahead and italicized it so you could see that was different. But there's sections in here for your company name. You can just double click on it and type in your company name and edit this text any way that you like. This content hook section, this is what we're going to be doing for our next exercise in the workbook. I want you to clearly articulate What problem is solved by your white paper? I want you to make a statement for the outcome that someone could expect. If they're going to spend the time to read this white paper top to bottom, what outcome are they aiming for? And then write a paragraph or 3 describing that outcome. Why it's important, why it's difficult, what they can expect when they have it. And this 4th section, why should I care? If you offered your white paper to somebody and they said, why should I care? Answer that question. Now, this is what we're going to do in the workshop today. I'm going to give you 3 minutes to do this, but I'll just go through the rest of the sections really quickly. Describing the avatar, writing out their problems, and then the main content, why it matters. And this is where you fill in a lot of the meat. There's stories you can tell, there's statistics you can share. A visual model makes it look really compelling. And then introducing the solution. You can double click on the program title to replace it with the title of your program. Add things onto this bullet list so that you have all the features, and make a description of the program. You can copy and paste this from elsewhere and put it in here. And then if you need to get back to the swipe folder, there's a link to do that here. And then there's an About the Author page here, because this is technically a white paper. My workbooks have calls to action at the end. If you want to talk to me about speaking or coaching or marketing, this is how you do it. And I've got testimonials of nice things that people have said to me in here. So now I'm going to give you a link to the white paper workbook. And what I want you to do is I want you to make a copy of this Google Doc. If you're here with me live, let's go ahead and do this right now. And if you're watching this on the replay, you can get this out of the chat box. Actually, there should be a button near this on the replay so that you can get this Google Doc. And go to File, make a copy, and make your own version of this Google Doc. And I'll set a timer for 3 minutes. Spend some time working on the content, the content hook section. And then we'll come back after 3 minutes and share what we've learned. Now I'm going to play this music again. If you don't like music, turn your volume down and just keep an eye on the timer, and that'll be when we're done. About a minute left. wrap it up and come back to Zoom. Not really wrapping it up. We're just taking a pause. You can come back to this workbook later and add content from elsewhere. Develop your idea. Hopefully this workbook is going to grow and become the content for your next white paper. So who would like to share their content hook? What's the problem your white paper solves?
I can do that. So my white paper is going to be a checklist to make your content accessible with people with disabilities. So the problem is people with disabilities are unable to read and enjoy the thing, your content, the things you write.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And why is that important?
So that's important because 1 in 4 people in the US and 1.3 billion people worldwide have some sort of disability. And you want to be able to include those people in your audience.
Oh, that's great. Great statistics. Be sure to put those in the statistics section.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Who else has a good content hook to share?
I'm not sure I do. I wrote down lots of problems and was struggling to sort of see the wood for the trees above that.
Yeah? Tell me what you're working with.
Well, I know what I'm selling, which is facilitation training.
Mm-hmm.
And so the problems were time wasted in meetings, poor communication and misunderstanding, lack of momentum and progress towards the results, no visibility of progress, external reputation issues. Yeah, so sort of that all just felt too wide for me when I wrote it down. Yeah.
Do you have a title for your next white paper?
No, I do not. I'm making it up today.
Okay, great. Well, this is a great place to start with.
Yeah.
Maybe you could pick one angle of that problem. Maybe it's wasted time in meetings. If somebody's facing that problem, what's a potential title that would make them interested, where they'd say, wow, I need to download that? 10x your meetings? Meetings that matter? Make meetings suck less? We want to grab attention. That's the point of what we're doing with the content hook, is what's going to make somebody who's got billions of marketing messages coming at them every day, what's going to make them stop and go, ooh, that's really for me. Keep working on it. It's in there. It's in there. What about you, Susan? Did you come up with anything you like? Oh, you're still on mute, Susan.
Thank you. I'm speaking away here, as you could see. So you just inspired me, and I wrote 10x your book sales.
Boom.
Nice.
That's great.
So shifting the focus from selling books one by one to selling at scale.
Nice. Do you think that 10xing the book sales is something that your audience would really like?
I'm not sure. It just was inspirational when you said it. I was like, because more of a question, is your book selling the way you want it to? But so, I mean, that's, again, a work in progress.
Yeah, great. Well, keep workshopping it. Let me know how it goes.
Yeah, thank you.
Great.
So quick question. You know the stats I gave, 1 in 4 people in the US and 1.3 billion. Would it be disingenuous to say something like boost your readership by up to 25%? Is that promising more than maybe delivered?
Yeah, I wouldn't call it disingenuous. I might say it's misleading. maybe if it was framed, 1 out of 4 of your website visitors can't read your website, or up to 1 out of 4 of your website visitors don't know what you're saying. Yeah, I think there's something in there. That 1 out of 4 number is pretty powerful. Yeah.
Cool. Thank
you. Bet. Great. Well, thanks for workshopping that with me. That was really fun. The purpose of a white paper is to build your list and position your expertise. And it's often used in the context of the larger journey from stranger to customer. And the way that digital marketers frame this journey is as a sales funnel. And this sounds like it's some arcane technical lingo, but it's really not. A sales funnel is just a defined series of stages that guides a stranger into becoming a customer. And what's so handy about a white paper is it gives them a map for what they're supposed to do next. And you could put this in the context of a larger digital marketing sequence that starts with a landing page. And this white paper is your lead magnet. It's targeted to your customer avatar. And you send them a series of automated emails after they download it that directs them to a sales page where they can buy something for you. This is a typical sales funnel. It's an end-to-end promotion system. And I've made a lot of these, and that's why I made the sales funnel workbook. If you're on my email newsletter list, you've probably gotten an offer for getting this for $7 because this is my Tripwire product. It goes through all the different stages of the sales funnel from beginning to end and lets you check off which ones you have and gives you a worksheet for anything that you don't have. And so for attending this workshop, I'm happy to send you the workbook for free. Just type funnel in the chat box. Or if you're watching this on the replay, just send me an email that says, hey, I want your sales funnel workbook, and I'll send you a free copy. But you don't really need a sales funnel for a white paper. You really need these 3 things: the transparent PNG cover, the evergreen PDF link, and that's a link so that if you update your white paper later, the link is still going to redirect to the new version, so you don't have to change all the links you've given out. And then there's the subscribe page. If you have these 3 things, you've got a solid white paper funnel so that people can subscribe to your newsletter and get your PDF. And there's 3 different ways that people typically do something like this. And I'm going to go through these 3 options right now. And these 3 options are best viewed along this axis. It's actually 2 axes. There's the cost in terms of money, and then there's the cost in terms of time. And if you have a lot of time to put into this and not a lot of money, then you can do it yourself. And with the resources you've gotten in this workshop, the Google Doc workbook, the swipe folder, the 3D cover generator, I hope I've given you enough resources that if you want to do it yourself, then you can. But some people don't want to spend all their time fiddling with the mechanics of how to do this. And so instead of do it yourself, they prefer done for you solutions. And when something is done for you, it costs the most in money, but it costs the least in time. And this is when you hire somebody like me to produce it for you. We'd have a couple of conversations over Zoom. I'd go through your existing writing, whether you've written a book or blog posts, and then I'd use that content to create a white paper for you and then iterate on multiple drafts. And when people hire me to make done for you white papers, that's what the process looks like. But there's this middle option of done with you that some people prefer because it's between the high financial cost and the high time cost, and it moderates both of those. And if done for you is a consulting relationship where you're hiring somebody to do it all for you, then the done with you is a coaching relationship. And in a coaching relationship, you're still doing the work, but you're getting feedback from someone who's done this hundreds of times before. You're able to get perspective and advice on what's working and what's a waste of time. And so I'm going to put some links here in the chat box. And I want you to open the links that are most relevant to you. And if you're watching this on the replay, you can get this in the chat box. And there's 3 sets of links in here. There's the DIY links, which are the swipe folder that I shared with you earlier, and the workbook for making your own. And if that's what you want to do, if you're do it yourself, open those 2 links. If you're interested in done with you, then open the second pair of links. And those go to my testimonials page and my coaching page. If you're interested in getting a white paper done for you, then open the third pair of links. And that goes to my case studies and my consultation page. And once you open those links, come on back to Zoom. And I'm just going to walk through what each of these links are really quickly. So the first link in the Done With You pair is my testimonials page. And this goes through the nice things that people have said about me over the 13 years that I've been running this digital marketing agency. I've got video testimonials where people have said things about how I'm an active listener and that the workbooks and regular homework and the coaching program was helpful. Some people talk about the websites that I designed for them or the projects that I worked on. And if you've chosen one of those second pair of links, the coaching page has this big button right on it that says apply for a coaching call. And if you click that button, then you're going to get an application form for a discovery call. And this is where I give a free coaching call to demonstrate my expertise and see if we're a good match for working with each other. So if you'd like a free coaching call, as some of you on this call have had before or are signed up for right now, then go ahead and fill out one of these forms and you'll get access to my scheduling calendar and we can schedule a call. Now, if you want done for you services, my case studies page goes through a lot of the different types of work that I've done in the past. And I have overviews of the projects that I've worked on, the problems that we faced, the aim of how we wanted to fix it, and then the solution that we decided on. Some of this is for video work that I've done. Some of it's for marketing automation. Some of it's for membership websites. As a digital marketer, I've got a lot of different capabilities. But no matter what you're looking to do, if you want to work with me in a consultation setting, the first step is a free consultation where you fill out this form and you tell me about your business and what you're working on. And this isn't a sales call. I don't talk about my services. I talk about you and your business and what you're looking to achieve. And then after that call, if we both think that there's some room for us to do some work together, then we'll schedule a second call and I'll talk to you about my rates and terms and scope out the project and what it would be like for us to work together. So if you're interested in working with me in any of those ways, then go ahead and select one of those links and fill out a call to talk with me. But if you're just do-it-yourselfer and you want to make your own white paper, then I wish you good luck with it. And send me a link to your subscription page when it's ready so that I can subscribe to your newsletter and take a look at your white paper when it's done. So we're at the end of the hour, and so I'm going to end the workshop now, but I'll stick around for a couple of minutes. If anybody has any questions or wants to talk, then I'll be here. But if you need to skedaddle, then thanks so much for spending this time with me. Have fun out there.